Welcome again, true believers. It is I, Shane. I'm here. I am your storyteller. I'm recanting the last episode, episode 9 of WandaVision. It is the amazing season finale, and funny enough, the title is called the series finale, a fitting name for what is the beginning of the multiverse saga. And there's a lot to unpack here. The runtime said 50 minutes. Technically, the full episode stops at about 30-35, but there's a mid-credit scene and there is an after-credit scene. If you have not watched WandaVision before coming here, I'm letting you know. Mid-credit scene, after-credit scene. Watch it in full. Hell, watch it and come back here because I'm going to discuss a lot of stuff. And please remember to like and hit that subscribe, and please leave a comment down below. All of those things make a difference. I am very, very serious. Please help me out here, and I thank you. So, anytime they do a what happened last time with WandaVision, typically these type of shows don't do that. And actually, it's actually a trend that they continued from the Netflix Marvel shows. Uh, Whenever they do a last time on Daredevil thing, it's important that you remember those last events. And on this one, remember about Monica Rambeau being scooped up by Snooper's Gonna Be Snooping, Mr. Evan Peters playing fake Pietro, who I thought was a golem, but we will get into that as well. Yeah, and I'll explain why that's up later. So, oh yeah, the White Vision thing, Chaos Magic, You're the Scarlet Witch, and it picks up right where we left off. Agatha Harkness is choking the boys with her purple, energy string. Wanda's trying to tell the boys it'll be all right. They try to run to her, and she just slams them down. Pardon me. I got some notes here, so we'll be looking back and forth, guys. So what ends up happening is one of the coolest and funniest sequences where after she slams the boys down, Wanda gives her, a magical blast. That's what I'm gonna start calling those now, Magi Blast, and it hits Agatha Harkness on the ground, and the boys run her. She tells them, "Go to your room, stay there. Mommy's gonna deal with this." And Agatha Harkness kind of just rises up like a vampire. You ever seen vampires down? They just come straight up just like that. She pulls one of those moves. Kind of cool and kind of funny. And as she's sending blast at Agatha, Agatha's doing the same thing she did to her mother and her coven with absorbing her power. Like Wanda's hand is starting to become black. And by the way, those who didn't think that was actually her mother, in the end of the credits, her name is actually Enora Harkness. Don't know if that's actually a real person or not. Didn't really care enough to check that. But I will tell you another thing later. How much I'm gonna make sure I write that down. So, uh, they're kind of going back and forth, and Wanda seems to always hit everybody with the car because she hit somebody with the car in Age of Ultron. She did it in Civil War. Then she hit Iron Man with the truck. So she throws a Buick and just slams it right into Agatha, and we get the funniest Wizard of Oz joke because she goes to check and she checks underneath the car, and the boots are gone. So kind of like the red shoes from the Wicked Witch of the West, or is it no Wicked Witch of the East side, and they are technically on the East side. So White Vision appears, and Wanda's like, Vision is that he touches her cheek, he grabs her face, and he starts to crunch her head. You can hear it, and she's in awful pain, and he's goading her, saying, "Yeah, I thought she would be stronger." And then her Vision comes right on in and tackles this guy, drags him into the ground, Dragon Ball Z style, just straight Broly on Gohan through the ground and throws him. And Vision says he understands everything that's going on. He knows, he knows what it is. He knows what's going on. And Wanda saying she's sorry, saying she can fix it. He says, "Yeah, I believe you. This is our home, so let's defend it." And you get very snarky. Agatha, she's in the air saying, "Oh, so this is kind of awkward. You have your boyfriend and your ex, because obviously White Vision, who is known in the credits as the Vision, is actually the real Vision. That's his real body reconstituted into this white form, and as I explained last episode review, this vision is literally birthed from Wanda, which we would get into as well. So Monica is trapped inside Agatha's house. Fake Pietro's keeping her there. Every time she tries to go to the door, he speeds around her and kind of pushes her back very, very easily. And we get some funny lines from Vision fighting White Vision. I'm just gonna keep calling him White Vision. He's saying, "Can we solve this peacefully?" And excuse me, they're going at it. They're punching each other. He's like, "I'm gonna assume that's a no." Then this is class. Like this last episode's classic Marvel for me. Tons of CGI, really good CGI in my opinion. Great action, and you get that comedy because at the end of the day, I know a lot of people say that these movies, movies in Marvel in general doesn't take itself too seriously with people dying. There's no stakes, but a lot of people have to search for comedy to find levity in situations. So that's kind of what I associate with this. Pardon the psychoanalyzation, but anyway, somehow Hayward has Jimmy Woo. He brings him in. And he's saying, "Yeah, we're gonna move in. We're gonna get him." Jimmy said, "Hey, if you just stop turning yourself in now, we might go easy on you because I got guys that are gonna be here within an hour." And Jimmy, he was able to go over to the table and snatch up a phone and have it behind him. They have him handcuffed and everything. And he's like, "You're bluffing." He's like, "Am I though?" And as they throw Jimmy someplace, using the very magic that he learned in Ant-Man and the Wasp from Scott, because Scott Lang, that's all he did when he was on house arrest. And he told him look up magic videos. He took a safety pin, undid the handcuffs, and said, with the flourish, makes a phone call and says, "Hey guys, can you be here within the hour?" Jimmy Woo is a FBI agent, by the by. Believe he was a Shield agent in the comic books. I'm 10% sure he was. So, meanwhile, Wanda and Agatha are fighting. They're fighting all across the town, and then they get to the town square where people are still moving. Wanda's kind of been chasing her as Agatha's been zipping in and out. She's over by this billboard, and this is it's a crazy scene because it kind of reminds you of a cartoon where like the people are yelling to each other, but no one's doing anything because remember they're still under Wanda's spell. And she's saying, "You don't even know what you are. You are the Scarlet Witch. Your chaos magic is going to destroy the world." And that dark book that was in there is the dark home, a dark tome that has uh, tons of magical information in it. Is tons of dark magical secrets. Even Harold, she even has her own chapter in the book. And something that some eagle-eyed people had seen was that the other page, it appears the page is right next to Wanda, which Wanda's Scarlet Witch page, which shows her headdress and everything. It's kind of looks like it's going to show us about the multiverse. You can barely kind of make it out, but I can see that, and I would definitely talk about that later. She's saying you're not even taught or birthed; you are forged. Your power exceeds that of the Sorcerer Supreme. Name drop for Doctor Strange. And like I said, she's destined to destroy the world. Wanda says I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to destroy the world. I'm not everything that you say I am. And she's like, "Oh, really?" So she slowly starts releasing people from Wanda's spell. And first one she releases is Dottie. And Dottie's real name, her real name is Sarah Proctor. I did write that down in my notes. I had to just go back and check. Which, I'm just going to tell you right now. Funny I said which, because that is actually Sarah Porter was actually a woman that was killed. Her and her husband were killed during the Salem witch trials. She was convicted as being a witch. So was her husband, and she died. So someone was saying that Dottie would be important. Something from the comics that I've never seen, but her name is actually a callback to basically what this entire show. Well, one of the underlying things about the show with witches and magic, etc., etc. And she's saying that I have a daughter that's the same age as your boy. We can do a storyline where they just get to where they be friends. But can she leave her room? And as everyone's coming back to themselves, they're surrounding her. One guy says, "At first I was fighting you. I don't even remember why I was fighting you. Can you tell me?" Another woman says, "I just want to tell my brother that I'm okay and tell him to never come here." And then the mom from that '70s show, she even says, when because Wanda says, I help you guys go to sleep. I make it peaceful for you guys, and she says, no, we have your nightmares. We all experience the grief that you're having. Just if you're not gonna let us go, just kill us. And we're getting everyone starting to surround Wanda. It's not looking pretty good. Meanwhile, we have Monica Rambeau back in this man cave of Fake Pietro, and turns out Fake Pietro is a Ralph, and his name is Ralph Boner, Bohner. He is the person that Jimmy Woo was looking for. He has to be the guy that Jimmy Woo was looking for. Actually, Monica did mention that because there's no real person named Ralph Boner, and I don't think Jimmy never saw. I don't think he saw recasted Pietro, or maybe he didn't know the face of the person he was looking for. I don't know, but Monica easily takes him down because for whatever reason he's laughing at the name because he's a freaking doofus. And Monica's spectrum power switch on. And the thing to make note of is that her eyes, I thought she was being taken over before along with everybody else, but her eyes change to the color of the spectrum of whatever she's trying to see. So Agatha's magic is purple, her eyes change to purple. Everything around was underlying of regular magic, so that's why she was able to see the blues and then the red color from Wanda. And Evan Peters as Ralph has this necklace, this skull necklace. Those things were kind of ugly back in the day. That has Agatha's energy signature on it. She rips it off, and he's like, "Please don't hit me, not the face." Blah blah blah, and it's just ridiculous. So that's just let you know that's the last we see of Evan Peters' character in this episode. Period. The boys are in their room and they see their dad Vision fighting White Vision, and Billy's Wiccan. He can hear his mom's anguish, and he's saying we got to get to mom. So the people, I already said people have her nightmares. It's really harsh what they're going through, what she's going through. Uh, And as she cries out, she inadvertently puts a magical choker on everybody, and she apologizes and get rid of it. And she's being goaded by Agatha to release them, which Wanda does her magic thing and starts making kind of vanishing away the hex and telling them to just run. And they're running, and as Vision's having a beam battle with White Vision's beam is blue. Vision, just regular Vision, his power is yellow. His power is weakening because remember he only exists within the hex, and he crash lands in front of Wanda. His body starting to dissipate as the hex is slowly fading. He's reaching out to her. Then the boys get there, and they're reaching out to her, and Agatha's like, "Yeah, they're engraved in this spell that you made. So once you get rid of it, you get rid of them." And Wanda's just nah. She puts it back up. Hayward's team finds time to get on in there. And funny enough, as his team gets in there, that's when the FBI gets in there. And Jimmy Woo's team, they're there in enough time to see the hex be open and then close once again. So they're gonna set up shop where the evil sword people were doing their thing. Uh, as the I don't know what they call them. I guess the WandaVision family, as they embrace and check over one another. Wanda's hand still, that black. Agatha throws a blast at her. Wanda puts up a barrier, kind of very Fantastic Four esque in a way. This really made me want Fantastic Four, but I digress. As she putting up the barrier with her energy, Agatha is taking it away. Wanda's hand goes black. Now they have White Vision coming in, and then they have Hayward's team coming in, and they got Agatha over here. So it's the family versus all three of these. Uh, as Vision says, I'm gonna go take care of Vision. Actually, before they do that, they give the lines in this were so good. I actually did write them down. He says, "Listen, boys, me and your mother prepared you for this," and Wanda says, "But you were born for it." This is only 16 minutes in, so uh, Vision goes and fights himself. And as he's going to fight White Vision, he's asking why you're doing this. He says, "I am programmed to destroy the Vision." And Vision says, "Well, I'm not really the Vision. I'm technically a copy. You know, honestly, aren't you the Vision?" and he's preparing to do a beam at White Vision, but he knows that he stops and he says, "I need you to elaborate more." So meanwhile, the stupid shield bad guys, sorry, sword bad guys, start to shoot at Agatha, and she's holding the bullets and everything, lifts them up and says, "It doesn't matter what time period, people always come with the pitchforks and fires for girls like us." And when she tries to drop them to the depths, Wanda saves them. So she tells the boys to handle the military, which is funny, and mommy's gonna be right back. And Wanda goes up to Agatha, and she turns invisible. So we'll get back to that in a minute. Billy controls all the guards guys. They can't really shoot. Tommy takes the guns. They got hats and whatnot. And then Hayward, to just hammer down how much of a dick this guy is, he takes out a gun and starts shooting at these kids. Monica tries to tell him to stand down, but she runs in. She takes the bullets, and one of her abilities is she's able to turn herself into a being of light, which was actually an issue for her within the Ultimates book that came out in 2018, I believe. It was 2018 or 2019. I believe it was 2018 when the new Ultimates for 616 came out, and her body was kind of like her atoms were everywhere. And it took Blue Marvel, another black superhero, one of my favorites. He was able to bring her back together. They are an item. I love it. And they both have similar colors. They both have this blue and white scheme. He wears a nice little half jacket, though. I like it. But yeah, her ability, she can turn herself into a being of light. The bullets go through her, but when they go through her, they slow down enough and they just drop. One goes past her, and Billy's able to stop that. So Hayward tries to run away, and as he backs all the way up, we get Darcy, Dr. Darcy. She's still in that carny truck, and just rams into him. Says, "You going to jail today?" That was funny. So Vision and White Vision speak, and they speak about the boat of Theseus. And if you haven't heard of this before, well, if you haven't heard of this direct one, I'm sure you may have heard of this parable or this conundrum. It is the boat of Theseus. When the wood rots on the boat and you start to replace the planks on the boat with new planks, over time, is it still the same boat? You know, and White Vision, of course, White Vision says, of course I know of this supercomputers, right? And Vision says, White Vision says, you know, neither of them is neither like so. Is the old rotten wood, is that the original boat, or is the boat right now, is it the boat? And White Vision says technically neither are, but at the same time both are, which is it's basically a metaphor for both of them. New Vision, created by Wanda, he's technically all of the memories, and just I don't want to tell you what actually he is until I get to the end, but he's actually the memories of Vision. Meanwhile, White Vision doesn't have his memories, even while this one didn't. But White Vision doesn't have his memories, but he is literally the new physical copy of Vision. And Vision says, what if the rot, the rot is the memories, the crew, they're the emotion and everything else. The wear and tear is actually the Voyagers, and the wood itself was touched by Theseus. So they're both they're both the same thing because they were both touched by Wanda's technically Theseus. They both were touched by Wanda. They've both been through wear and tear at this point. And White Vision says he doesn't have his memory, but Vision says you're a synthezoid, highly, highly created, amazing synthezoid. It's gonna be harder than that to just wipe away your memory, because he asks him, he tells him, your memory's being kept from him, and why would that be? To make a weapon to be easily more controlled. So he asks him permission to touch his forehead, right where the mind stone would be, because New Vision kind of has a little mind stone. He touches it, and we get flashbacks from the moment Vision was created. We get that all the way to Civil War, all the way to Infinity War and Endgame, to the dying, the reconstruction, and he's back. And it goes yellow for a minute, but it goes back blue, and then his eyes. This White Vision's voice was far darker, far deeper, far more cold. Uh, Paul Bettany did some great acting with this, and his eyes were not human. His eyes become human. They're not the same color as Viz, regular Viz, fake Viz, but it become human. He says, "I am the Vision," and he just flies off. He flies off. More on that later. Actually, I'm gonna put Vision, White Vision, because I do want to talk to you about that. So, apologize if this runs long, but this is a good one. Excuse me. So, Viz goes back to his children with Monica. He embraced. Agatha's watching this. Then Wanda pulls the same trick she did to the Avengers in Age of Ultron. She does that creepy sneak up walk and touches Agatha's head for her to see. I'm akinning this to the spell that Agatha did to Wanda, where you can see her past, but it's some type of enchantment where you can see like either your darkest fears or your worst moment. Because when Thor saw it, Thor saw his friends and family dying, which actually did come true. Thanos killed half of the already dwindled Asgardians, and he did see Heimdall die, and he did see his brother die. Part of me didn't want to drink on camera. Anyway, Tony Stark saw all his friends dead, and he saw Chris Evans. I'm sorry. So Steve Rogers saying he could have saved us. That was his deepest fear. Which hell, he killed himself to make sure that thing wouldn't happen technically. And that kind of did happen. The Avengers were getting their butts. They got their butts whooped in Infinity War. They're getting their butts kicked in Endgame. But until they all banded together, they were able to win. uh, who else saw something? Hulk just went into a rage. Who cares about that? Captain America though, he saw he saw Peggy. He saw everybody back in the 40s, and of course everybody was dead and he was alone. So I'm telling you that something with her ability is allow you to see the future or something that can be or your deepest fears. And funny enough, each of those things actually happened to these heroes. So Hulk is just rage, so who cares? But Thor saw everybody he knew die. Iron Man ended up dying to try to make sure that his friends didn't die, even though they still lost Black Widow. Try not to call these actors by their real names. It's really hard. And same thing with Steve. He ended up staying with Peggy. So Agatha's dream sequence, she is seeing that scene that we saw in the last episode. Was that the beginning of the last episode where she's on the stake and then the dead bodies are around and Wanda says, "That's the difference between you and I." Excuse me. You did this on purpose. Everything that I've done, I did not do this on purpose. Then the corpses started to rise and then they pointed at her. And then Agatha's like, "No, please stop." And she does it sincerely, it seems, but all the corpses turn on Wanda and just call her Scarlet Witch, Scarlet Witch. Then they tie her to the stake with the blue magic. And sorry, I want to go through here. You know, the power. Agatha says something very true. The power isn't the problem; it's the fact she has a lack of knowledge. So she's making a deal. I will take your power, release you from this burden. I'll keep your little world the same. You won't ever have to worry about anything else, and no one will be none the wiser. And Wanda's not having any of that. Actually, I called it her crown, but her mask, which is essentially, I guess you can call it the headdress. I'm sorry, the headdress, just like uh, and Nora Harkness had her blue headdress. Whatever level, the super level that Scarlet Witch is on, that is the natural headdress. Her powers implode this thing, and she tackles Agatha, and they're taken to the sky fighting. She's like, "You want my power? You can." She's just throwing magical bolt at the magical bolt. She puts Vision in a bubble, so he goes down, and he's saying, "What are you doing, Wanda?" And she's throwing, she's throwing energy bolts that are missing and hitting the sides of the hex. And with each bolt that Agatha is absorbing, I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, she's gonna give her so much power, she explodes." But that doesn't happen. That's not happening because Wanda's hands cripple. She's getting all sunken in, and uh, eventually she kind of like floating there, almost like a floating corpse almost. And the skies are darkening. Like within this hex, the skies are becoming a storm of magical energy. Jimmy and his team can see every time the magical bolts, magic vessels hit the side of this hex. They're able to see these things. And she's saying, I'm gonna release you of this burden, but by the way, just to let you know about our deal, once once the witch's spell is put up, it can't be undone. Your spell's gonna be broken, just like you. Man, she's a stone cold. I'm trying to say the word. She's stone cold. She's just straight evil. She is not like Agatha Harkness that was in between in the comic books. No, this is just straight evil. And she just goes to do her magic thing with the booty boo, and she tries to do the magic thing again with the booty boo. Which one of the things I actually want to pay attention to for Agatha's costume, her costume looks great. Instead of her having a sleeve, her fingers are black when she's doing her thing. It's no glove; it's just black, which is kind of cool. So as she's trying to do the boogity boo, Wanda's hands become normal, her face becomes normal, and all of a sudden these runes all over this giant hex just pop up, and Wanda spouts the same nod she gave to Agatha gave to her. Only the witch's powers that put up the runes can be used. Everyone else is shut down. Thank you for that knowledge. I appreciate that. And she reabsorbs all the chaos energy and becomes the Scarlet Witch. Her costume is fantastic. Which I caught on that witches, magical people. I'm just gonna say witches because Doctor Strange always has his costume on. But witches apparently it's kind of like it's almost like a Kamen Rider, almost like a Power Ranger thing, almost because they can just snap, and their outfit that matches their powers and ability just appears on them. And her costume is very much a mix of I want to say from 2015 on up Wanda, but also a mix of the Ultimate series Wanda Maximoff comic books powers costumes. Funny enough, Wanda Maximoff and Scott Summers in the Ultimate universe actually had a thing going on. It's kind of interesting. The daughter of Magneto and the prodigal son of Professor X. Pretty interesting. But her outfit fantastic, headdress fantastic. She finally looks like the Vision, haha, that Wanda had when she looked into the Mind Stone. Which, of course, Agatha's looking at it, and it's just like no, and Agatha just falls straight to the ground with a plump, and Wanda comes down with her, and keeps scrolling, keeps scrolling, keeps scrolling. Agatha saying, "Oh my God, you don't know what you've done," and she's saying, "So what are you gonna do now? You're gonna lock me up?" And he's like, "No, You're gonna stay here. You're gonna stay in Westview, and you're gonna be the role that you played. You're gonna be the nosy neighbor." And she's like, "No, don't do that to me. What? No, that's not fair." And Wanda says, "I'm sorry." And she's like, "You're not sorry. You're cruel." Wanda just smirks, evil smirk, mind you. And Agatha warns her again. You do not know what you are about to do. You are about to cause some bad stuff, and you're gonna need me. And she says, "Well, I'll know where you are." Touches her head. She just changes back into Agnes, saying the corny lines that she says, like "okie dokie artichoke," and she's saying, "All right, go home, Agnes." And she's saying, "All right, I'll see you later, Agnes." And Agnes says, "Not if I see you first," which I feel like there was still a little bit of Agatha speaking out through that, which I found very interesting. So, the family, Wanda says, "Let's go home," and just Monica's just watching. Mind you, all of this is happening during the daytime. As they head home, it's nighttime, and the hex is slowly moving in. And they tuck the boys in, and their room is 90s as hell. I thought I saw like a Power Rangers Megazord in there, but they had a telescope and everything. Anyway, you know, they kiss their relative. They kiss the twins that they like the most. I think Wanda kisses first. She kisses Billy, and Vision kisses Tommy. Then they switch, but she tells them like she told them before. Family's forever. They couldn't leave each other even if they tried. And of course, Vision says good night, chaps, because he's British, duh. And um, Wanda thanks them for choosing her as their mom because again, even though, and one of the things that still perplexed me, even though she created them, her powers also didn't affect them when they were children. So there's still something that I'm trying to. There's more to this, and I'm gonna write that down too. Kids not affected. That's something I'm gonna talk to you about in a minute. So, Wanda's turning off the lights and Vision turns one on. He says, I want to see you clearly. And he's happy to see her, and the hex is slowly closing in. And he's saying, before he's gone, he wants to know exactly what he is. And she says he is a piece of the Mind Stone that still lives within her, which means when her and her brother interacted with that Mind Stone, that means part of its power was absorbed into them, which is I find very interesting because this could lead into the Infinity Stones coming back. Remember, Carol Danvers, aka Miss Marvel, got her powers from the was it the Tesseract? Was it the Space Stone? I think it was the Space Stone. She got her powers from Infinity Stone as well. I don't know if it's the Mind Stone, but she got her powers from it was the Cube. Weird. I don't know if that's one of the things that bothers me. I'm sorry to go off on a tangent, but the cube in Captain Marvel looked like the cube that Loki had that ended up becoming the Mind Stone. So I'm trying to understand to myself, was this the Space Stone, and Loki ended up getting the Mind Stone from Thanos to put in his scepter? I don't know. I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know. But if they somehow say Carol Danvers' powers came from the Space Stone and not the Mind Stone, that's two, technically three, if White Vision still has that power in him. Three entities that have the power of the Infinity Stones inside of them. And if I remember correctly, Peter Quill's dumbass actually was able to test the Power Stone. So if you've seen Infinity War, you know why I call him a dumbass. So she again tells him that he is uh, part of the Mind Stone. He comes from a Mind Stone that's still inside of him, and she is wires and metal and blood and bone that was bore out of him, but she's also his sadness and his hope, and mostly her love. And Vision cries. He sheds a tear, and this is actually really amazing because if he's a copy of Vision, Vision technically is not supposed to cry. He's technically a robotic being, and this is a really touching moment. And he's saying first I was a voice with no body, then I was a body that was not human, and then I was a memory made real. Who knows what I could be next? And it's almost as if he's kind of talking himself through what's about to happen next. And the hex is collapsing, and the house is changing through all of the years that the WandaVision show has gone through. And he says as they're are touching each other's face, embracing, says, I stand it stands to reason that if we've said goodbye before, and she finishes, that we'll say hello again. And he says farewell, darling. As he goes away, comes back into that yellow Mind Stone energy. It goes back to her. The house once again becomes that empty, unfinished plot of land that we saw Wanda go to when she had her emotional breakdown. And she doesn't even take her car. She just leaves the car there. She flips her hood on, walks out. All the people, they hate her. The people in this town hate her. Understandably so, but I feel more sympathy for Wanda in the MCU than I do for Wanda in the comic books by far. But this, Wanda, she feels their shame, or should I say, she feels their hate. She goes up to Monica, and Monica says, they will never know or understand what you sacrificed. And she's saying it doesn't matter, they still hate me. And she's asking, why don't you hate me? And Monica says, I can't hate you. If I was in your position, I would have brought my mom back in a heartbeat. So they both understand each other's griefs. And just basically what this show is about, right? It's about how do, and about how superpower beings deal with grief and kind of how we all deal with grief. Not Monica, but Wanda making that house from nothing. She's literally building walls around herself to shield herself from all the grief and sadness and things she has gone through literally since she was an 8 or 10 year old. But Monica's sympathizing with her. We hear sirens in the back. Of course, that means it's time to go. Uh, Wanda kind of flips the hood, keeps the hood up, and she says, "Bye, Monica." She says, "I'll see you later, Wanda." Says goodbye and good luck. And as Wanda goes to fly off, she changes. Uh, she changes her costume. She changes into her Scarlet Witch costume. We get a nice shot of her flying over. And I told you before, inside the Wanda hex, it was darkness because in sitcoms it goes from day to night quickly. But since it's gone, it's back to daytime. She flies over, turns around, takes one last look at Westview, and flies off. And that's where it ends. But then we get our mid-credit scene, which Jimmy Woo's in charge. He's setting up relief over at the theater and not the theater, at the theater and other places, so people can, they've been through a lot. They need to talk to people. They might need medical attention. And Monica says, being in charge suits you, which I really do hope Jimmy Woo is the next director of Sword. FBI is nice, but Jimmy needs a boost, and I hope he takes Darcy with him. Uh, one of the officers, no, one of the officers comes in and grabs Monica and says, "Hey, someone wants to talk to you in the theater. They're asking for you." Turns out that she is a scroll, and she says, "Yeah, someone that used to work with your mother heard that you were grounded, so they want to have a talk with you." And she's like, "All right, well, where are they?" And she points up, and Monica goes, "Oh, this is more than likely Nick Fury, because based on Monica's responses to hearing Captain Marvel's name in episode 3. I'm sorry, 4. I'm pretty sure it's not Carol, but I'm for sure that it's Nick Fury. He's probably annoyed with a lot of the things that have happened, especially with director Hayward being the evil jerk that he is. Especially, Nick Fury was actually dead for 5 years too, so he's probably trying to get things back on track. We go through credits, and we get our end credit scene, which is in the mountains somewhere. Actually, looks like the British Columbia Mountains. Someone thinks that maybe it's Sarkovia, that she went back home. I'm going to say no, because Westfield is in New Jersey. If you just go north, it's British Columbia. I don't know why she would go to Europe when she can just go north. So I'm going to say this is British Columbia. She's in the mountains somewhere in a cabin, even though the person who I watched said the cabin had some Eastern European architecture to it. I don't know if you've seen it. Please let me know. Anyway, as we see Wanda sitting on the step drinking a cup of tea, she goes back inside where the kettle is sounding off. And as the kettle was sounding off, geez Louise, we go into the back room and we actually see Wanda. This is something that Doctor Strange did in his movie, using his astral projection to keep reading the magical tomes in the books. The thing is, Wanda is so advanced; she's gotten to this point already with using astral projection, and she's able to have her physical body move and do things. That is a whole nother level. I don't even know if Doctor Strange can do that. But as she's reading the Darkhold, because she told Monica that she would learn about herself and what her powers are and what she can do to control it, I think we hear Billy, but someone said it sounds like one of the boys, but it could just be both of the boys, and they're calling for their mom. They're saying, "Mom, please help us." And she gets this look on her face and does the magical thing, and that's the episode. Yeah, this was a very long one. I know I've gone almost 40 minutes, but please stick with me. I'm just going to listen to this in the background, all right? So let's go through and address some of the things real quick. People were upset, saying that this was a troll, because Paul Bettany did say they were going to get a Luke Skywalker. Spoiler for The Mandalorian. Spoilers for The Mandalorian. And I'm going to just mute it. I'm going to wave like this when I'm done. We're going to get like a Luke Skywalker cameo, like The Mandalorian, we're gonna get that same type of level cameo. It was not that. It was not a high level cameo. It was actually the original Vision showing up. So the cameo was technically him showing up as himself. Which, yeah, I was disappointed. Really disappointed. And it didn't really ruin the episode for me. It didn't ruin the show for me at all. I actually found it very intriguing. At the same time, Kevin Feige and Marvel have done this before. And the very first Infinity War trailer, it was a bait and switch. There was a scene where Hulk, Black Panther, Okoye, Hulk, not the Hulkbuster, but the someone who flies, Falcon, War Machine, Cap, they're all, and Black Widow, they're all running forward. This never happens in the movie at all. They will make fake trailers. Actually, one of the trailers that led up to season 8, it looked like Doctor Strange was supposed to be in it. They will fake you out. Just letting you know. So, guys, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to cut this video here, and I'm going to give you the second video why I address some of the things I want to write down. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for listening to this review, just giving you the sprinkles of things on the inside. Please tune in to the second part. Second part's coming right up after this. Won't be that far, won't be that too long. So, you know what? Forget it, because that video is going to be less than 5 minutes. Should I even do? Forget it. I'm just going to keep going. You guys want to? Some of you are saying yes, some of you are saying no. We're just going to keep it going. I'll tell you, we're going to keep it going. So, was the multiverse, was that in the book? I think it was. That could be, because when we hear the boys crying for their mother saying, please help them, if Vision was a part of her soul, and somehow she was able to birth these new beings into being, like literally birth the boys out, they are probably pieces of her soul instead of them being pieces of Mephisto's soul. Since Mephisto and Nightmare didn't show up here, they're probably going to show up in Doctor Strange. But since they didn't show up here, these probably show up in Doctor Strange. That's probably why Wanda's going to need some help getting her boys back. And she's probably studying not just her powers, but the multiverse to figure out where they could have gone. She is a Nexus being, and we saw that commercial for Nexus, which she's a Nexus point of all reality. And actually, the Nexus is a place where all of reality goes to different parallel universes, all that jazz. Even planes that are on the same existence. Is actually protected by Man-Thing, one of my favorite characters. Actually, one of my favorite characters. So, check that. Check the boys. I already mentioned Sophie. White Vision. I thought that Vision was going to take over that body. He did not. But since technically the Vision is back and he has all his memories, I think him and Wanda might be done with. In the comics, they fully broke up, and Vision actually went through and made his own family, which is where you end up with his daughter Vi, who's part of the Champions group. The mother went kind of insane and almost killed Vision, so she's dead, and I think the son is dead too. And Robo Dog is dead, Sparky, which is actually the name of the dog in the series that got killed by Agatha. But he does make a daughter Vi. Who knows? Maybe Vi will still show up. I'm pretty sure Vision is trying to figure out his role in this new world where technically he should be dead and will somehow give him life once again. I don't think it was against his will because Hayward was making up a lot of bullcrap. So I'm pretty sure he's just trying to figure out his part in this world and if he and Wanda should even be together, since he is the source of a lot of her grief. Well, he is the final straw of her grief. So who knows if he's probably going to analytically think about this and say, maybe we shouldn't do this because you lose me again and it can cause more world-ending issues. I really do think that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness will be an Avengers type of movie, especially with Spider-Man showing up in it. And I'm going to assume that Wanda's going to be looking through the multiverse trying to find her kids, rips open the universe, and this is how we get our Spider-Man movie. I always mentioned Monica Icon. Yeah, missing the boys. And I mentioned what I think is going to happen next. So yeah, sorry for the 44-minute video, but I like reviewing and giving you guys the little tidbits and things that will make you want to go back and rewatch some of the stuff yourself. I promise next week I will have a video just in total speaking on my thoughts on WandaVision as a series and some of the other things that may or may not happen. So again, thank you for showing up. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I know this was a longer one. I haven't had a long video like this in a long time. So thank you for showing up. Please hit the notification bell, get notified of more videos like this. They're not always this long, but this is still fun, right? Please share the video. Hey, you guys can play this in the background while you're, working or while you're washing or anything. Again, thank you. Subscribe, comment. Be good, be blessed, wash your hands, wear a mask. Black Lives Matter, be good to yourself, and don't be a jerk to others. And I will definitely see you next time.